All right, just a quick review of our supply and demand curves that we've been doing the last couple of days. If we want to determine the price of a good, how much should we charge for something? Remember in class, I used the example of the soda. How do the soda companies know to charge $1 for the bottle? Well, they have to find out what people are willing to pay. To do that, we develop a supply and demand curve. Things you got to know is what is the company willing to sell the product for? Well, in the case of Coke, it takes about 72 cents. At least that's what they charge us here at school to bring a bottle of soda into the building. So they know what they have to get. They have to get at least 72 cents. After that, they make a profit. And at what price is the customer willing to buy the product? If you go to the basketball games at the high school, it costs you $2 to buy that 72-cent bottle of soda. So people are willing to pay it, so they'll charge that much, and they'll make their $1.28 profit at the school. So you've got to find those two things out. Once you do that, you will do some research, get some data on what people are willing to buy. Well, our company we did in class was the Thingamajigs, and we found out that that we as a company were willing to sell um, 100 of our items as long as we got the price of $10 per item. But if we only got $1 per item, we weren't as willing to sell that number because we weren't going to make as much money. So again, as a company, you're looking to see how many of your product are you willing to sell at what price. And your job as a company is to try and sell at a higher price. To help find a price, we develop what's called a supply curve. Let's take a look at that now. You take the data that we had before, how much we're willing to sell, and you go ahead and you put them on a graph. Over here on this side is the price, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And over here is the quantity we're willing to sell. Now, let me go all the way back. I'm sorry, and here's my chart right here. In order to do the chart, let's get the handy dandy pen out. First thing we do is we take a look. The price, at price of 1, which is right here, we are willing to sell 15. We'll put a dot. At the price of 2, we're willing to sell 20. Price of 3, 25. Price of 4, 35. Price of 5, 40. Price of 6, 50. Price of 7, 65. A little slip of the pen there. Price of 8 is 80. Price of 9 is 95. Price of 10, 100. Then we play the game of connect the dots. This will be a little silly because my pen has a funky move to it with my wrist. We connect the dots, and we have what is known as our supply curve. Our supply curve is only half of the equation. Next, we have to find out what people are willing, how much people are willing to spend. And that's the demand. Demand, you'll see, drives everything. How bad people want to buy things, that will determine how much we can sell our product for. So we make a demand curve. Now in this one, this will go down to the right instead of up to the right. So in this case, 1, if we were willing to sell our product, our Thingamajigs, at 1, we could sell 90 of them. If we sell them for 2, 85, 3 for 80, 4 for 70, 5 for 60, 6 for 45, 7 for 35, 8 for 30, 9 for 15, and 10 for 5. What this is telling us, as we connect our dots, this is our demand curve. And what this is really telling us is that people, when they buy product, they don't want to spend a lot of money. That's a surprise, I'm sure, for many of you. The more we charge, the less likely they are to want to buy it. Now, what we want to do from there is combine the two graphs to find something known as the equilibrium price. Once we have the two graphs, where these two graphs intersect, we'll have an equilibrium. What that means is this. You have your supply curve in red, your demand curve in blue. Those are the two we just created. We put them on the same grid. Now, when we do that, the point that those two intersect, that is called the equilibrium. I'll try and write this out nice for you here. Equilibrium, that number where they cross is the best possible price to sell the product at. If you sell the product up here for this price, not many people will buy it. If you sell it down here, too many people will want to buy it and it'll go too fast. We won't have enough. We'll give you the names of those in just a minute. But again, the equilibrium is the best possible price to sell it at. The equilibrium price is the point where the lines intersect. The meeting point of the price the company is willing to sell and with the price the consumer is willing to buy it at. And we covered that already. Now, there's two more points to look at on, you have a shortage and a surplus. Shortage is if we set the price too low. If we set the price too low, people will buy it really fast. Let's go back to that Coke. At student council, if I'm selling you the Coke instead of at $1, let's say I make it 25 cents, I'm going to run out of soda in the first 15, 20 minutes of the dance. Everyone's going to buy that soda for 25 cents. And I will have nothing left. So I'll have the last 2 hours of the dance with nothing to sell. I will have a shortage of my supply. A surplus is above the equilibrium. That's if I raise the price of my soda to $2. Nobody's going to buy it for $2 from me. Therefore, at the end of the dance, I'll look in the cooler and I'll be stuck with all that extra soda. So up here, surplus. And down here, I will have shortage. Again, in the surplus, that's if I set the price too high, people don't buy it. I have a lot left over. Shortage, set the price too low, people will buy it too fast. Now it's time to create a supply-demand curve of your own. We did this in class on a piece of graph paper. Use the data on the chart given to find the product of what's a who's it's. And I gave supply and demand, and I asked you to go ahead and chart that out. What I'm going to do is attach to this page, I'm going to attach the file for the practice quiz we did today in class, so you have a chance to do it. So if you were not in school today, which is Thursday, you can take a look at the practice quiz. Tomorrow, Friday in class, we will be taking the quiz on creating the supply and demand chart, finding the equilibrium, labeling and shading in the shortage and surplus. If you can do those things, you're pretty well set. All right, that's it for today, everybody. Have a great night.